Hi everyone, Flora Sage here. I am your spiritual business coach and mentor. And today I want to talk with you about how to master your message. Now, several of the things that I do are I help women make more money in their online business. I also help and teach my clients to create digital programs so that they can reach six figures in their business within a year. And both of those things are so powerful, but one of the things that I also help my clients do is master their message. Now, making six figures in a business is very easy, especially in nowadays. You create a very powerful digital program, you launch it to the world, you create an ad around it, you create valuable content all supporting that particular program, and you funnel everything into and pointing to purchasing that digital program. So there you go. And in order to make six figures, you only need to make $8,400 a month. And so, like I said, in our society, in our digital age, it's very easy to do. But what takes time is mastering your message. And this is something that I've been preaching and teaching for a long time, is you've got to find your voice and just stick with it. I actually did kind of a little bit of a rant video a couple weeks ago about this, but and those of you who have been following me for a long time, you know that this is something that I don't back down about or on. And when you have a message in your heart, when you have that clearly defined mission, you need to just share it with the world. What you have to say is the answer to someone else's prayer. Someone out there is praying, God, universe, source energy, peeps, however they choose to phrase the higher power or the higher version of themselves, please let me find a solution to this, or please let me figure out how to do that. And the message that you have in your heart is that solution, is that answer, okay? And so I really want you to think about, what message do you have in the world? What is that just driving factor behind what you do? Like what are you driven to help the world on or with? And how can you share that? Like I said, in our society, in our digital age, it's so easy to share content. If you've got a phone, if you're watching this, you can go live and you can say, hey, I have a message and I'm going to share it with you. Boom, there you go. But so many people get this idea, oh my God, people are going to judge me, and well, what are they going to say? And, well, who gives a flying fuck what they say or what they think? If you have a message, share it. And that person that needs to hear it is going to hear it, and they're going to be like, oh my God, thank you. I so needed to hear this today. And those people that judge you, they don't matter, okay? Because if they're judging you, they're judging everybody else in their life. And chances are, if they're judging you and everybody else in their life, they're judging themselves even more harshly. And I just whacked my elbow on my printer. But you got to give yourself permission. You've got to give yourself permission to own your voice and to just start talking. Just start telling people the message, sharing your message, sharing that value. And when you start sharing, that's when you're going to start to master what it is that you have to say. That's when you're going to start to figure out how to say what it is that you want to say. If you watch some of my earlier videos back in the day, I wasn't always articulate. And sometimes, like today, I'm not super articulate, But I have a message and I'm going to share it, whether it's super polished or not. There's a lot of people that have all of these backdrops and all these production things, and I've never, I shouldn't say never. I for a time did that, and it felt like my message was canned. It didn't feel as authentic as it could have been. And so I stay to the raw, unedited videos, because to me, that's what matters. It's not the production quality. Yes, of course, I try to have a clean background and good lighting, and I project my voice so that you can hear me, but it's the message that matters. It's the message that matters. And the more that you share your message, the more that you'll be able to figure out how to say what it is that you got to say, And that's when you're going to start to master your message. And that's when your people are going to follow you and go, well, actually find you first and foremost. They're going to find you and go, oh my God, yes. And then they're going to follow you because you consistently show up and you consistently share with them things that matter and things that give them value and things like, little nuggets of information that help to move them forward in their life. So yes, can you make 6 figures online? Yes, it's very easy to do. You just have to say, okay, what's my message? Who's my target audience? Who am I? Get very clear on that. And what problem are you solving for the world? You create a digital product and you sell it. Like I said, this is one of the things that I help my clients do all the time. Making 6 figures is easy. Mastering your message takes time. And you have to ask yourself, am I in it for the long haul? Am I in it to win it? Am I in it to master my message? Do I want to go for mastery or do I just want to go for the quick win? So I really would encourage you to look at these things. Do I really just want to make 6 figures and not master anything? Or do I want to make 6 figures and do I want to learn how to master what it is that I want to say? One of the things that I've heard more times than I can even count when I meet with people on free strategy sessions and whatnot is, I just want to make 10K a month. I just want to make 10K a month. And I'm like, what's this elusive 10K thing? Like, why did you pick that number? And they're like, well, I don't know. That's just like what everybody strives for. I'm like, well, what do you want? What do you want? Do you really want that 10K a month? Or do you want people to come to you and say, this is the problem I have, and then you help them solve that problem, and then they walk away a better person? They're like, oh, yeah, that's what I want. I'm like, okay, so focus on that first, and then that 10K will follow. You know what I mean? So give yourself permission today, this week, this month, to really ask yourself, am I in it for the long haul? I heard a quote early on in my business. Sometimes it takes years to become an overnight success. And if you look at people who are an overnight success, they've been doing it for a long time, typically about 10 years or more. I have a friend of mine who just wrote her 2nd book, and her 2nd book just reached bestseller status on the New York Times bestseller. And I believe this is her 9th book. And she has been doing this work for about 17 years. And she has been kicking ass and taking names like the last 3 or 4. But she's also been doing it well before that, but just with not a whole lot of recognition. And the thing about overnight successes are that these are the people that show up every day. They show up whether they think somebody is watching or not, because they have a mission. They have that drive within them that says, I'm here to make a difference, damn it. And I'm gonna put my 2 cents out there in hopes that it helps at least one person, or 10 people, or 100 people, or 1,000 people, or 1,000,000 people. But it all starts with saying, I'm going to do it, come hell or high water, and you just do it. And over that 10-year period, over that 5-year period, over that 3-year period, however long it takes you to become that overnight success or to hit that 10K or whatever it is that is your goal, along that time frame, that's when you are showing up day in and day out. And that is when you give yourself permission to just show up and fail or flop or stutter over your words or stammer or go and have a complete freaking brain fart when you're live and going, okay, like I gave a class the other day. I've been giving classes and I've been doing classes since 97, okay? And the other day I'm doing a live class with my Thrive mentorship people, and I'm just blowing and going, and I'm just like, whoa, totally in the zone. And then I completely lose track. I'm like, broop, and my mind goes blank. And I was like, where am I? And this never, ever, ever, ever happens to me. And I was like, oh shit, like, seriously? So I had to ask the participant, I'm like, where was I? Like, what was I gonna say? And they're like, I don't know. Because it was just kind of like in between thoughts. And it was a good point, and I actually remembered it later on in the program, but it happens. It happens, you know? And I could have like froze and stopped the live stream and been, oh, technical difficulties, whatever. I'm like, I freaking lost the people, I'm sorry, you know? And the key of all of this is that when you have a message, you're gonna show up whether you fuck up or not. You're gonna show up whether you have your eyelashes or makeup on or not. You're gonna show up whether you feel like it or not, because you have a message. You have that deep desire and that deep calling, and you're not gonna overthink it. You're not gonna say, well, I can't make a video until I figure out what I'm gonna call myself or what I'm gonna label myself. I'm just gonna show up because I have a message. I'm gonna show up because I have something to share today with the people that are watching. And so I would encourage you to really look at, are you willing to stick it out for the long haul so that you can master your message, so that you can finally have that overnight success or that big break that you've been waiting for? Because if you're not willing to stick it out for 10 plus years, this is probably not the avenue or the route for you. And so the reason why that I keep saying 10 years is because study after study after study proves that in order to become an expert at something, or in order to achieve mastery at something, it takes about 10,000 hours to make it happen. Okay? So, and in the studies, there's like this formula of like, 10 years and X number of hours per week or per day that equal out to that 10,000 hours. And so on average, it takes about 10 years of doing something consistently every single week, whether it's playing piano, whether it's speaking, whether it's writing, whether it's playing hacky sack, whatever, to become an expert at it. And so are you willing? Are you willing? If you knew you wouldn't achieve that expert mastery level for 10 years, if you knew that you would not be considered an expert or a master for 10 years, would you be willing to start the business today? Would you be willing to start day one? Today I'm going to hit play, or not play. Today I'm going to hit record on my phone or go live, and I'm going to commit to going live every single day for the next 10 years. Are you willing to do that? I really want to know, are you willing to do that? And if you're not willing to do that, then you have your answer, whether or not you want to start your business or not. Because it's not about how much money you make every week or every month or every... Sorry about that, I got a phone call. It's not about how much money you make every year or every 2 years or every month. It's about how committed are you to changing the lives of the people that you want to help change their lives with. Whatever message, whatever solution that you provide the marketplace. Because the thing about this is that each person that has a business, they're offering a solution of some sort to a problem that you have. So if you want a phone, okay, so the problem is you don't have a phone, or maybe you have a phone, but it's breaking, or it's an old phone, and so you want a new phone. And so what do? You look for a solution to that, and a solution is a newer phone. If you're hungry, what does a restaurant provide? It provides food, which is a solution to your hunger. If you're overweight, you go to the gym. What is that a solution for? That's a solution for not being healthy physically, as far as the exercise way. If they have nutritionists, that is a solution for, or a potential solution if you choose to follow it, the nutrition plans that they can give you to be healthy. Okay, people don't buy a blender, they buy smoothies, okay, or blended food. They don't buy a vacuum, they buy clean floors. So what solution do you offer your people, and what's the problem that they have that you're trying to help them solve? Okay, my solution, what I help my people figure out, is how to clarify what they do, so much so that their tribe goes, oh, hell yes, I know exactly who that person is. I know who their ideal client is. I know the results that I can get from working with that person if I choose to do the work, and I know how that person helps me do this. Boom, right there. So I help them figure out that clarity sentence, and then from there, I help them create their business around that so that they can make 6 figures and they can learn to master their message and master their voice and master what it is that they have to say, so that that time frame of, or that learning curve is greatly reduced. Because the thing about this is that when you do any type of business, you can wing it, you can try to figure it out on your own, or you can hire a mentor or a coach to lessen that time frame. Because what I do is I say, no, you don't need to do this, you can do this. Because sometimes people try to do something and I know from experience that it's not going to work. That's just a time waster, and that's not going to make as much impact as other things. You know what I mean? And so that's the beauty of a mentor and a coach. I have my own mentor, I have my own coach, and and I've got 2 of them. I've got a mentor and I've got a coach. And my coach walks me through certain things and my mentor walks me through other things. And the thing about that is that each one of them brings something different to the table, and each one of them helps me to be a better business person, to helps me be a better coach and be a better person. You know what I mean? And so, and the insights that I've learned from my coaches and mentors have been just phenomenal, and they've saved me years and years and years and years of time. And I can't tell you how much time and money and effort I have wasted by trying to wing something on my own, just trying to wing it and just doing it on my own. It doesn't work. You can try, but I'm telling you, you're gonna waste a lot of time, you're gonna waste a lot of money. So the biggest piece of advice that I have for you today is, first and foremost, to ask yourself, am I willing to do whatever it is that I want to do for the next 10 years without getting any recognition whatsoever, without reaching that elusive 10K mark, which I'm telling you, you can probably do it. Well, I know that you can do it within a year, because that's one of the things that I help my clients do. But doing it on your own is going to take you much, much longer. If you're willing to do whatever it is that you're going to do for 10 years without being recognized as an expert, and you are willing to consistently show up day in and day out, then why not start today? Why not start today? If you're willing to do that, if you're willing to spend the next 10 years investing in yourself and your future, and you're willing to show up consistently every single day, are you committed to doing it? Are you committed to showing up? You know, when I started my business in 97, my youngest son, my oldest son, my youngest son wasn't even a thought in my mind yet. He was born in 99. But my oldest son was born in 95. And at this point, he was about 1.5 years, and because he was born late in 95, and I started my business in July of 97. And when I started my business, the thought in my mind was, I want to start a side hustle now, so that when my son leaves the house, I'm going to have a fully functioning, fully supportive business so that I can work on my own and not work for anybody else. And my goal was to work on that side hustle and build it up and build it up and build it up and build it up and build it up, so that one day I wouldn't have to work for somebody else. I could work for myself, and that would absolutely sustain and support me financially as well as everything else. And that's what I've done. Both of my kids now are out of the house. And so I started my business in 97 as a side hustle. In 2008, I got much more serious about doing it more full time. In 2009, I branched out and went online. And so at that point, I was about, 50-50. I was maybe 50% online, 50% in the community. And then it pretty much stayed that way until I moved up here, up to Minnesota and Wisconsin. And then now probably 95% of the stuff that I do is online, and I still do classes in person. I still do in-person space clearings and home organizations and things like that, because I absolutely love that. And I do coaching, here in the community as well, but the majority of the stuff that I do is online. And again, I really asked myself, okay, when do I want to retire? I gave myself that vision of an exit plan. I don't want to work the rest of my life. Even though I love what I do, I gave myself a vision of, okay, so I'm starting my business. What's my exit strategy? When do I want to retire? And then, okay, so if I want to retire at this age or at this dollar amount, what do I have to do now in order to make that happen? And I knew that it was going to take, even back in the day, because I saw my parents run their own businesses, I knew that it was going to take a lot of persistence and a lot of tenacity to build a business. And so again, I started my business as a side hustle, and I gave myself permission to just day in and day out keep working at it and keep working at it. And I've got a associate's degree and a bachelor's degree in business with marketing and management as a double minor. And I knew that I wanted certain things in place before I quit my day job. And I didn't quit my day job until February of 2012. But when I decided, I really want to go full time, it took me 2 years and 2 months to build out my business enough to where I could quit my day job. When I decided, I've got this side hustle and I'm working full time, I think I want to actually do this as a full-time thing. Once I decided that, it took me 2 years and 2 months. On average, it takes about 3 to 5 years for someone who is just starting a business to have enough income coming in from their business to be able to quit a day job, okay? But you also have to have at least 6 months worth of expenses in the bank, so that if something were to happen, like you have a slow month, because that's something, being an entrepreneur, every single month your income changes, it fluctuates, okay? You don't get the exact same amount every single month, because you've got maybe a month of enrollments, maybe everybody pays that one-time payment, and not everybody chooses that payment plan. And so there's a lot of different variables when it comes to running your own business. There's payroll, there is overhead expenses, there's all kinds of stuff, plus your regular living expenses. I've got a personal budget, and then I have a business budget. And in my business budget, I've got website stuff, I've got payroll, I have all kinds of other things, plus the paychecks that I give myself, if I choose to give myself a paycheck. Back in the day, I didn't take a paycheck. I didn't. For a long time, and it all went back into my business. And when I was able to start writing myself that weekly paycheck, I'm like, hell yeah. And I was like, that was so cool to be able to write myself that paycheck. You know what I mean? And so, a lot of people don't think about these types of things when they think about running a business or starting a business. They just think, oh, I just want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, well, where did that come from, and why? What are you going to do? What value are you going to give the world in order for people to pay you enough money so that you can make $10,000 a month? You know what I mean? And so many people are focused on that dollar amount that they forget the whole point about being in business. The whole point about being in business, well, there's a lot of points, but it's about providing value to the world. It's not about just saying, hey, look at me, give me money. It's not about that, okay? If you are a reader, there's a fabulous book called The Go-Giver. And The Go-Giver, I actually have it right here. It's by Bob Berg and John Mann. And if you struggle with just being focused on money and just being focused on that 10K mark, I would encourage you to read this book and study it and read it, or listen to it and listen to it and listen to it. Because if you want to get, you have to give first. This is like asking a stove, like a wood-burning fireplace, give me heat and then I'll give you wood. It doesn't work that way. You've got to put wood in first, and then you have to put something else in, and then you have to light it and ignite it, and then close it and kind of tweak some things, and then all of a sudden you get that really good fire going, and you're like, oh yeah. And then it just kind of radiates out throughout the entire room, and then you have this beautiful warm room and you're like, hell yes. That's what a business is like, is you've got to get the elements together. You've got the room, okay. You've got the stove, okay. And then you got to get the fuel, okay. And then you got to get the lighter or the match, okay. And then put it all together. And putting it all together sometimes takes time. If you've never built a fire before and you have no freaking clue how to do it, what do? You're like, okay, and you try. You could be trying for days. But if you hire a mentor or you ask someone, hey, how do you start a fire? And oh yeah, and they show you exactly how to do it, and they show you how to light it, and they show you how to do it from like a flint rock. You're like, oh my God, or steel wool, or the little stick thing. You know, there's all different kinds of ways to start a fire with a lighter or fire water, as my brother-in-law calls it. You know, then you can learn how to do that. And that's essentially what a mentor does, is they teach you how to save time. So instead of spending 2 days on trying to figure out how to start a fire, it took 2 minutes. You know what I mean? That is so relevant on how business works. Is, you know, you've got this cold room, you have this fire or this stove, and you have all the kindling, and your voice, okay, your message is that fire. It's that flame. And the more that you put that flame on that wood, and the more that you just breathe into that and say, yes, this is my message out to the world. This is the solution to the problem that you have, or problems that you have, and I'm here to share this with you. Then all of a sudden, because you've given and you've given and you've given without getting anything in return, you're just sharing. All of a sudden, one of these days, somebody's like, you know what? I really like your message. Here's another piece of wood. AKA, here's some money because I want to work with you one-on-one. Or I want to work with you in a group program. Or you know what? I want to buy your book. And it doesn't happen overnight. But what does happen is you can decide overnight that you're going to show up for yourself, and you're going to show up for the other people in your life. And you're going to show up for those people that are praying for the solution that you have for their problem. And this is not to develop a God complex, like, oh, I'm solving everybody's problems. No. You're giving them the tools, and they're actually doing the work. So like I said, if you struggle with just focusing on the money, I would recommend reading The Go-Giver. And if you struggle with the concept or the thought pattern of, am I really committed to doing this for 10 years before I reach that pinnacle of success or that level of expert status? If you're struggling with that, you might want to pick something else. And if you're not sure, then try it out. Like I just heard, Mel Robbins talk about how she wanted to own a, coffee shop. And she's like, yeah, I would love to own a coffee shop, yada, yada, whatever. And so what did she do? She got a job working at a coffee shop. I just plugged my phone in. And she hated it. After a week, she quit. She's like, fuck that. I would just rather just go and get coffee. So if you don't know if you're willing to commit the next 10 years, try it. Commit saying, if I really want to do this, am I committed? Well, I don't know. Okay, so let me try. So try it for a week. Try it for a month. Try it for a year. And if you can't commit, try a different topic. Try a different solution. And go back to the drawing board, okay? Because if you're really committed, it's just going to be second nature. It truly will be like breathing. And those of us who do this work for a living, and my clients who are the most successful, are the ones that just get up day in and day out and they just do it. They do it. They do it whether they feel like it or not, because it's part of who they are. Their message is part of who they are. Their mission is part of who they are. Their vision is part of who they are. So if you're still watching, because some of you have been with me, and I don't even know how long this video is today because I can't see, but, whoops. But if you're still with me, you've got something inside that you're like, yeah, you know that? Just do it. Like, I said this before, your first video is going to suck. Your first podcast is going to suck. Your first book is probably going to suck a little bit. But just do it. And that's how you start to master your message. The more you share, the more that you commit, the more that you show up, the better you're going to get. And the more you're going to be able to master the message that you have to share with the world. The more articulate you're going to be able to be, or that you will be, when you share your message. And even sometimes when you're doing this for a long time, you're not articulate just because, things happen. But still, you'll be able to figure out how to craft that message so that you can get your point across. But it's not going to come by you sitting on your ass. It's only going to come when you just do it. When you just hit live or go live or hit record and do it. Or just start writing out your blog or writing that book that you've always wanted to write. You know what I mean? Just do it. So I'm going to get off my soapbox right now and get back to work because I have just a couple more things left to do, and then I'm taking the rest of the day off. But I love you all, and I know that if you're still watching this, you have a message to share the world. And you have a mission inside of you, and you have a vision inside. And it's one of those things that you're thinking, come hell or high water, this shit's gonna happen. It's going to happen. It's like, me thinking about me not doing this work is like me not breathing. It's just like, I can't not do this work. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna retire someday, but I know that I'm always gonna be doing this work. And what I mean by retire is I'm gonna have that number in the bank. So recently somebody said, oh my God, 65 can't come fast enough because then I can retire. And I'm like, well, if you have enough money, you can retire now. I mean, retirement isn't an age. It's a dollar amount in the bank that you have calculated with your financial advisor to say, so with the lifestyle that I want to live, and this is a whole nother topic, I do this with my financial coaching clients, but you work with a financial advisor and you do the math and say, okay, so this is the kind of lifestyle I want to live, which is going to cost about this much money per month, per year, and with the rate of expectancy for life now, how much do I need to have in the bank or in investments in order for me to retire? And that is your retirement age. However, if it takes you 3 years to get there, you can retire in 3 years. If it takes you 30 years to get there, then you can retire in 30 years. Retirement is not an age. It's a number in the bank that will allow you to not work. So anyway, that's just a totally different rant, a totally different conversation, and a totally different topic. But anyway, I love you all. Have a fabulous, fabulous rest of your day. And I will see all of you back here very, very soon. Mwah! I love you all. Bye.